In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a pretty damn awesome espresso martini. Stay tuned. Right then, this video is all about how to make an espresso martini. This is actually part one of initially a three-part mini-series all about the espresso martini, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to add to that as well. So the three parts are, this one's going to how to make the espresso martini, and in part two I'm going to answer the question that I get a lot. How can I make an espresso martini if I haven't got an espresso machine? So that's the second video in this little mini series. And in the third video, actually, I'm going to try and see if I can improve the sort of go-to espresso martini by comparing lots of different coffee liqueurs. I think I've got about 5 or 6. The base is Kahlua. So we're going to sort of deep dive in the third video about all the different coffee liqueurs that are out there, which one's best. And then I think quite possibly in another filming session I'm going to add to it as well. So we're going to do an espresso martini with vanilla vodka, salted caramel, all that kind of stuff. So I'll put them all bundles all together in a playlist, but this video we're going to crack right on how to make the espresso martini. So obviously the first thing we need is our martini glass. Now we're going to shake the cocktail, so we need this to be ice cold. So I'm just going to chill the glass down and leave that to one side. Now we're going to make this in our cocktail shaker, so I'm just going to make this into the tin. Now there's lots of different sort of ratios and recipes out there. For me, it actually depends on the size of your martini glass. Okay, this is about 170 ml. I've forgotten what that is roughly in ounces. 6 ounce, maybe 6.5 ounces, something like that. So it all depends. The bigger when I'm on events, I actually use my Coupe baby sham glasses. If I've got one right here, I actually use them, and they are slightly bigger, so I need slightly more definitely espresso, but then slightly more vodka sometimes to go in there. So I'm going to pretty standard espresso martini. So the first thing we need is a vodka, decent quality vodka. I'm going 35 ml. The second ingredient one is our coffee liqueur. Kahlua is pretty much the industry standard for espresso martinis. Every single supermarket will get it. In the industry, it's deemed a lot better than Tia Maria, but we'll deep dive into that in video number 3. Quite cheap as well, 12 to 14 pounds a bottle. I go equal measures, so I go 35 ml vodka and I'm going 35 ml coffee liqueur. Now, question I get quite a lot: how can I measure 35 ml? It's this measure. I bang on about this measure all the time. This is the Mezclar Preciso. It's lined 5, 10, 15, 20 in the 25 ml end, and then every 10 ml in there. So there'll be links right up there of where you can get that from, but I highly recommend getting the Mezclar Preciso measure. Now, sugar. Do we need to add sugar to our espresso martini? There is no right or wrong to this. The big way I do it in my cocktail masterclasses, I get the group, hands up if you take sugar in your coffee. For those that do, 9 times out of 10, you might just want to add a little bit of sugar, but it's completely on your own palate. Don't forget, these coffee liqueurs are slightly sweetened up, so they will add a little bit of sweetness to that. But for some of you that may have 2 sugars maybe in your coffee, you may need to add a little bit more sugar. Me personally, I don't need to. So the third and final ingredient is very, very simple. This is just fresh espresso, and again I'm going equal measures, so 35 ml. Right, what we need to do now is ice down our cocktail shaker and completely fill your shaker up with ice. And now we are going to shake it for a good hard 12 seconds. So you really need to chill that espresso down if it's piping hot, but just really kind of blend those ingredients together. So good 12 seconds. Now when you're happy that's nice and cold, get rid of your ice out of your martini glass, and that should be nice and chilled down there. Now we're going to double strain this. And just double strain just gets rid of those tiny little shards of ice. So single strain with the Hawthorne strainer, and then double strain through a tea strainer. Now you can see that's nicely kind of settling down. We've got a nice white sort of frothy crema on top. The big difference between me for martini glasses and what I just showed you, these kind of coupe glasses, is because they're V-shaped, I never fill a martini glass up right to the top to allow for spillages. Whereas these, the coupe glasses, because they're kind of bent inwards, you can kind of go right up to the top, right up to the meniscus, and that just creates kind of a bigger. So I do use slightly more liquid when I'm using these glasses. But the final touches now for the espresso martini, it's that simple. We go for 3 espresso beans, and if you ever wonder why we have 3 espresso beans, it comes from the Latin, I think I get this right, it's con la massa or something like that. Basically translates into health, wealth and happiness. So we kind of just nicely arrange those. I haven't got a pair of tweezers, but I just do it in a nice sort of clover shape right in the middle, except when they stick to my fingers. And that is how simple and easy an espresso martini is. It doesn't need to get any more complicated than that. Equal measures, 35, 35, 35. If you've got a standard sort of martini glass, if you've got slightly bigger ones, 50, 50, 50. It's that simple. Espresso martini. In the next video, how do you make that if you haven't got a coffee machine?